The switches on our stove were acting up, and so I decided to replace all 4 switches on this front knob model of a Frigidaire stove. The first step is to make sure that you shut off the power at the breaker box. To access the switches, you need to remove the 4 knobs. Then the nameplate is held on by these round washers that I'm removing now that are attached to the switches. Just remove those 4, and then that front panel will come off to access the switches which are on the back of the panel. The next thing you need to do is remove the panel that actually holds the switches, and it's held there by 8 Phillips screws that need to be removed. These are the 4 switches on the back that you have now accessed. Now I bought these online, and there's 3 different kinds of switches. There's 2 of one and then 1 of 2 other kinds. What I noticed was that the new switches, which were white, had slightly different setups of the connectors, but they're all labeled, so you have to be careful to make sure you label them like for like. I made a little cheat sheet to help me remember what goes where. So just work carefully, doing one, take one off, put it back on the new one, and you won't get confused. I think there's about 5 or 6 connectors on each switch. And there's the last wire. So we've completed the wiring on the first switch. Now it's just a matter of reattaching it to the panel. There's a little insert that goes with the switch to which the knob that holds the panel later is attached to, so you got to put that on there too. The orientation of the switch is also important. The slot on the switch shaft has to be up so that the knob will be in the up position when it's off. So now it's simply a matter of duplicating the next 3 switches, and I've just gone through it in fast speed, but it's basically the same exact thing you're doing on each switch. I bought the switches online, and the total switches price for the 4 of them was a little over $100, so they're not cheap. Now the first 3 switches all were replaced with slightly different switches in appearance, even though they all had the same connectors. The very last switch, the one on the left, is exactly the same as the one that came in the package, so there it was the easiest one to do as far as knowing which connectors go on which spade. Now it's just a matter of putting it back together, screwing in the switches. Putting this panel back in, I believe. I might have said 8, but I believe there may be 6 screws holding it down. Once that's done, then you can put the top panel back on, and that's held down with these plastic washer type screws, which I'm now putting on. Each switch has one. You can just kind of tighten it up with as you can see, with a screwdriver. Snug them up. Put your knobs back on. They all should be pointing up in the off position if you've done it right, and you're done. Turn on the power and test it out.